right, here I have all the materials I need to start my edible color wheel lab. I have 3 paper bowls. I have enough paper plates for everybody in my team to have 2. I have enough plastic knives for everyone at my table. I have 3 plastic spoons, 1 each of red, yellow, and blue food coloring, a box of Nilla wafers, and a container of white frosting. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my container of frosting and I'm going to open it up and remove the foil that's on the inside and throw that away so that I get something that looks like this. And now I'm going to take one of my plastic spoons and I'm going to scoop out the frosting and put 1/3 of the frosting container in each of the 3 paper bowls. Okay, so I've got my frosting divided into the 3 paper bowls pretty evenly, so there's about 1/3 of the container in each of my paper bowls. I've placed a plastic spoon in each of the paper bowls, and now here comes the really fun part. We're going to add the food coloring to the frosting. So I'm going to take any of the colors of food coloring. I'm going to take the top off. And I want to be really careful with the food coloring because it can stain my clothes, it can stain my skin, and it can stain the tables. So I'm going to be really careful while I'm using the food coloring that I don't splash it around or get it on me or get it on anything around me. Okay? So I'm going to take my food coloring here and I'm going to put 40 drops of food coloring in one of the bowls. So I've got yellow here, I'm going to put 40 drops of yellow in one of these bowls. So now I'm very carefully going to take the plastic spoon that's inside the bowl and stir in all that food coloring with the frosting. Okay, so be careful, don't splash it around and get it on yourself. Okay, so now that I've mixed all the food coloring in with my frosting, I'm going to take one of the paper plates for each person, and I'm going to put 12 Nilla wafers on my plate so that it looks like a basic color wheel. It just doesn't have the colors on it yet. So I'm going to take my Nilla wafers and open up the box and put 12 of them on my plate. Okay, so now I have 12 Nilla wafers on my plate. I've got my food colors mixed. The last step is to start mixing together the colors for my Nilla wafers to create the color wheel. And to do that, I'm going to use a plain paper plate as my palette, and I'm going to take one of the plastic knives and use that to mix colors together. So the very first thing I can do is I can put my primary colors on my cookies already. They're already mixed. So I can take some red and place that on top of a cookie. I can count to where my next color needs to be, 1, 2, 3, 4. So right here I'll put another primary color. So in this case, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, and right here is going to go yellow. So that was the easy part. Now I have to start mixing my secondary and tertiary colors together. So let's say I want to make orange, which is going to go right here. To make orange, I'm going to take my palette plate and my knife. I'm going to take some red. And I'm going to take some yellow. I want to be careful not to cross-contaminate my colors. So I'm going to make sure I either use the mixing spoon or I wipe off my knife before I stick it in another color. And now I'm going to start mixing them together. And I want to pay attention to which color it seems to take more of to make orange. Does it seem like it takes more red, or does it seem like it takes more yellow? So I've got a color here. It kind of looks like orange, but to me it seems like it could use a little bit more yellow. So I'm going to put some more yellow on my plate, being careful not to cross-contaminate my colors. I'm going to take my knife and mix that extra yellow in. Now it looks more like orange to me, so I'm going to take my color, find the appropriate cookie for orange, use my knife to frost my color. Alright, so now I've got orange on my knife. I want to clean it off before I start mixing my next color, so I have a couple options. I can take a Kleenex and wipe it off. If my hands are covered in color and frosting, I can use a baby wipe to wipe my hands off. So you can see I've got food coloring on my hands already. I could use a baby wipe to help wipe the stickiness off my hands. Okay. Or I can get a clean plastic utensil. What I don't want to do is take my knife and stick it in my mouth and then stick it into one of these bowls of colors, because then everybody gets my cooties and that's really gross and no one wants that. So make sure that you're not licking things and sticking them in bowls. So at this point, I've mixed all of my secondary colors. I have my orange, my green, and my violet on my color wheel. So the last thing I need to do is mix my tertiary colors. So to do that, I can use the colors that I've already mixed and alter them by adding more of the primaries to them, or I can start from scratch. Let's say I want to make a blue-green color. I've already got some green on my palette. Maybe I'm going to take some of that green and just move it to a new clean area. And to make blue-green, I would take my green and I would take some of the blue from the primary bowl and I would add more blue to the green that I've already mixed. Okay. So to check this color, once I've got it mixed, I want to make sure that it's different than the green I've already mixed and that it's different than the blue that's already on my color wheel. And this one is kind of in the middle. So I'm going to take my cookie and I'm going to put my blue-green frosting on it. Right, and I'm going to keep repeating this process until I get all of my cookies frosted. now that I've finished mixing my color wheel, I've got my palette plate that looks kind of like this. I can eat any of the frosting off of it that I want to, or I can take it and put it in one of the garbage cans in the classroom. Any of this leftover frosting, when all of my table mates are finished, we can eat or we can throw away. And now that my color wheel is finished and I've answered the questions on my handout, I can go through and eat my cookies now, which is the most exciting part of today. Okay, so my teammates and I are finished building our color wheels. I'm going to take all of my leftover frosting and get rid of it. So if no one's going to eat it, I'm going to throw it away in one of the garbage cans. I'm going to take these food coloring bottles and the box of Nilla wafers and put them on the back counter for the next group to use. I can use my leftover frosting container as a place to take my cookies with me to lunch or home if I would like. Or if no one at my table is going to use the container, I'm going to throw it away. If your hands are covered in frosting, like mine are right now, you can use a baby wipe or a Kleenex to wipe your hands off. And we want to leave our table clean for the next group coming in to make color wheels. So I'm going to take a Clorox wipe and once again wipe my table down and leave it clean and shiny for the next group.